Work-life balance is defined as the desire to somehow maximize our effectiveness and efficiency at both work and home amidst the constant tasks, distractions, wants, and needs that are competing for our limited time and attention. Wow, how depressing. Is that really achievable? Successful people continuously force the popular preparatory principle called work-life balance, which is an unachievable either-or proposition. In fact, it creates guilt, which is an inhibitor, not a motivator. Significant individuals experience a harmonious life, which is an either-and accomplishment. You see, successful people try to compartmentalize their lives, segregating them into, this is my family life, and this is my social life, and this is my business life, and this is my friend life, and this is my spiritual life. However, when you attempt to divide your world into situational environments, you lose integrity. And the goal is to always live in integrity. Remember, integrity means everything is integrated. What you see is what you get. And having the character to think and say and do the same things all of the time, when people are watching and especially when they are not. Living a harmonious life of integrity with character means that your behavior with your spouse and children is congruent with the way you treat your employees, and is congruent with your interactions in the boardroom and the way you play on the golf course. Harmony is created and sustained when you stop wearing masks or being phony in any aspect of your life roles. It starts when you realize, with real eyes, that you really can have it all when you first be it all at all times, regardless of the emotional weather conditions around you. You will start to experience harmony beyond forcing balance the moment you realize the world is actually set up in a simple and orderly way. There are only a total of 13 vitamins, yet they facilitate every chemical reaction in our fetal development that produces skin, bone, muscle, and brain tissue. There are only 5 receptors on your taste buds that detect salty, sour, bitter, sweet, and umami, which define all the flavors we enjoy. And yes, there are only 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, that make possible the greatest works of art, and there are only 10 digits in all of mathematics. You stop forcing work-life balance and start to experience harmony when you take 100% responsibility for your life, not 99%, but 100%. Everything in your life you have created and are creating. You can't hire other people to do your push-ups for you. You're the only one who can obey, persevere, and stretch for you. You're the only one who has to be clear on what you want and why you want it. Nobody else can do it for you. Sounds like success to significance, not just getting what you think you want, but wanting what you get so you don't die with your music still in you. For this reason, the goal in life is to transform our focus on trying to create work-life balance into living a significant, harmonious life with the understanding of what I call the 3 major enhancers to experience harmony. Number 1, we need to become a juggler. At least think like a juggler. Your transformation from work-life balance and striving to be successful into harmonious significance begins when you let go of the notion of multitasking to become an effective and efficient juggler. Why? A juggler knows the only ball he/she controls is the one in his or her hand. Once you let go of the one ball, you relinquish control until you catch it again. If we're completely honest, we really have only 4 major balls to juggle. The self ball is made of a crumpled $100 bill. Do you want it? What if it's dropped and someone steps on it and grinds it into the ground with a shoe? Do you still want it? No matter what anyone does to this rolled up, ball-shaped $100 bill, it does not decrease in value. Such an old analogy and metaphor, but still so profound in every one of our lives. It was and still is worth $100 no matter what you do to it. Many times in our lives we are dropped, crumpled, and ground into the dirt by the decisions we make in the environment in which we live and work. Though at times we feel worthless, no matter what happens to us, we never lose our value. A $100 bill is still a $100 bill regardless, if it's dirty, crumpled, worn, torn, smashed, wet, dry, old, new, dropped, or juggled. You're priceless. Failure is an event, not a person. There's a difference between the person and the performance. Being up is better than being down, but in either place, you are worth the same. The second ball we need to juggle is the family ball, which is made of glass. We drop it and it breaks and shatters into many pieces that can rarely be repaired. Therefore, it's imperative that we keep it in the air at all times and at all costs. Families are forever. If not, then what's forever for? What matters most is always what lasts the longest. The third ball is the job ball, which is rubber. If we drop it, it's always going to bounce back. Sometimes higher, sometimes lower, but it'll always bounce back. Even if it's stepped on and flattened, it squishes out the sides trying to break free. When it's finally released, it immediately returns to its original shape and form, ready to bounce again. The rubber job ball reminds us that there's always a way. We just need to find it. And last, ball number 4 is the belief ball made of gold. It's heavy and bright and sheds light on the others. When we drop it, it leaves a dent, but it stays right where we left it, allowing us to pick it up and juggle it again and again whenever we decide to. The miracle of the gold belief ball is that if we dent it, as we pick it up and start using it again, somehow the movement, faith without works, eventually smooths out the dent, and as we juggle it, the blemish vanishes, leaving no sign we ever dropped it. This is why significant individuals give their interest and attention to what they can control. Let not what you cannot do interfere with what you can control. Once you become an efficient and effective juggler, you stretch yourself to being a significant individual. And when you know how to focus and choose to live every moment in a meaningful way, your whole human being and human doing align with your inner purpose. You pay attention, show interest, and behave deliberately, knowing that quantity has a quality unto itself, and that quality-quantity time is the price we pay for relationships, which after all are built one person, one moment at a time. The second enhancer that allows us to transform our mindset from work-life balance, which is unachievable an either-or proposition, to harmony, experiencing harmony, which is an either-and proposition, is to take charge of your choices. Because you don't find harmony, you create it. It's critical to look at everything you do as a trade-off. Most likely, you wouldn't choose to be President of the United States. Too much pressure, making life and death decisions, and no privacy are not worth the rewards. However, the choice of moves is always yours to make. Let me explain. For example, you're living in Park City, Utah, close to my home. Your entire family are avid skiers and always get a season ski pass. You own a boat that you keep at your lake house, and both your parents and your spouse's parents live within 30 minutes of your home, so they are convenient and willing babysitters. Your children are really involved in sports and the performing arts at school. They have amazing and positive influencing friends, and you are a successful manager of a retail store. Then one day your employer offers you a substantial raise and a promotion if you'll move to Kansas and manage a territory of several stores. What would you do? Tongue in cheek, I live in the mountains of Utah. The Rocky Mountains are spectacular. Kansas is so flat you can actually sit on your front porch and watch your dog run away for 3.5 days. I don't know if that's a topographical, geographical trade-off. Back to the story. When you get home from work and share your exciting news with your family, one by one they proclaim that they will not move away from their friends, grandparents, cousins, or the mountains. So what do you say? Would you choose the family team or the work team? The choice isn't easy, but choice is what creating harmony is all about. For the successful who really want to reach the top rung of the ladder, no sacrifice is too great. The corporate game is guided by rules, moves, and counter moves that consist of a series of trade-offs. So is the game of life, played by the significant who realize there are a few once-in-a-lifetime experiences that requires so much sacrifice that we must give up what we want most for what we want at the moment. When we're prepared, we shall not fear. What goes around always comes back around, which means timing is everything. Which brings us to the third enhancer of transforming our lives from work-life balance, which creates guilt. Oh my gosh, this is never going to happen, to the possibility thinking of experiencing harmony, which is an either and proposition that we can take charge of and control of based on controlling our choices. So number 3, we need to begin with the why in mind. Because goals are only an excuse for the game, we play the game in between the goals. True happiness and authentic, lasting fulfillment come primarily from the journey. If the only satisfaction we get from our jobs is a paycheck every 2 weeks, the 40-hour work week goes by slowly and emotionally drains us dry. This is why so many hate their jobs and only look forward to Friday and not Monday, thinking they're paid by the hour when in reality we're paid for the value we bring to that hour. Sound familiar? If we begin with the end in mind, we put our emphasis on the destination, which oftentimes is a letdown. Astronauts who have walked on the moon and mountaineers who have scaled Mount Everest talk of long destinations of momentary highs with little long-term impact except for the fame and fortune that comes to them. An American football team spends the majority of the 60-minute game strategizing, executing, and working hard to score. But if the players spend more than a few seconds celebrating in the end zone after they've scored a touchdown, they are penalized for excessive celebration. However, when we begin with the why in mind, we are continually reminding ourselves that we are spiritual beings having a physical, mortal experience. This reminds us that if, in fact, there is a final judgment when we die, we're not going to be evaluated and rewarded for the sum total of our good acts, for what we have done, and the accumulation of multiple destinations and ends in mind. Rather, we will be blessed and rewarded for who and what we have become because of the journey. It's not enough for anyone just to go through the motions of life focused on only one of the 6 dimensions of our mortal existence: physical, mental, spiritual, social, financial, and familial. We must resist the appetites of the natural man, rise above the common world of minimum requirement mediocrity, and become something more significant today than we were yesterday, simply by engaging our whole self, mind, body, and spirit in every moment and relationship, which will inspire others to do the same. Yeah, bottom line, the answers really are in the box. If you want to experience harmony, the answers are inside of you, and the choice is yours.